Son. Well, curler shots.
100 Premier League goals for Son in 260 appearances and 50 assists in that time, which is very nice symmetry in all of that. Look, it's not been his greatest season, but that is a huge achievement for him.
영국 현지의 한 방송에서 손흥민 선수에 대해 패널들이 이야기합니다. 혼자 영국에서 겪었던 힘들었던 일들과 성장 과정 등 화려한 그의 현재 모습에 가려져 대중들이 잘 알지 못하는 흥미로운 이야기, 그리고 현재 그의 기록들이 얼마나 대단한지에 대한 이야기, 지금 함께 보시죠.
Magnificent achievement for him. You know, from Korea, you know, come from Germany, come here. Didn't know too much about him when he came. But look, it doesn't take long to see that, depending on his mentality and how hard he wants to work, what he would be capable of doing. When you look at what he's got pace, he's got left foot, right foot, brilliant work rate. You know, you think to yourself, if he gets it right, he's going to score a lot of goals. And it doesn't surprise me he's done that. Unfortunately, you know, he hasn't won anything with his club, which is a shame for him. Simply because when you're scoring those goals at that level, you really do want something. You do. You want to put him in that bracket. You do kind of need that. Yeah. Those trophies. Amazing achievement for Son.
Yeah.
You know, for an Asian player to come across. I mean?
영국 매체 미러에서 기자로 활동하며 CNN 스포츠의 수석 스포츠 분석가로 활동하는 데런 루이스가 손흥민 선수에 관해 재미있는 이야기를 합니다.
I think the thing about Son, I remember when he arrived, he came from Bayer Leverkusen for around about 10 points and £5 million. In his first season, he hated it in the Premier League and he wanted to go home. And Daniel Levy, the chairman, did a superb job persuading him, stay in Premier League football. You know, you're going to be really good here. And he started to improve. His English over the second, the third season began to improve as well. He's been exceptional for the club. There have been many occasions where Harry Kane's not played, and against big teams like City, for example. Everyone's thought, City's going to steamroll him, and he's been the difference. And you talk about his assists record. I think that's key because he has that creativity in the final third to unlock so many high-class defences. And I think even at 30 years of age, which he is now, he could easily play for one of the top teams in the Premier League and in Europe. He's only scored 7 goals so far this season. And so from his point of view, it's a Premier League goal, that is. For his club and country, it's 17. But you take out the country goals and the FA Cup goals, for example, it's only 7. And so by his standards, it's actually quite an underwhelming season. But I think lots of people worry about if Spurs lose Kane. I'd be just as worried about if Spurs were to lose that boy.
과거 토트넘 호스퍼 감독을 맡고 있다 아스톤 빌라에서 감독직을 은퇴한 팀 셔우드는 손흥민 선수의 엄청난 훈련량과 그의 성실한 태도에 대하여 말합니다.
You know, he's absolutely right. I mean, if it was down to Daniel, he's done a good job persuading him to stay. But the boy is one of the best trainers you're ever going to see.
You managed him, yeah?
No.
What did in that spell where was he not there at the time?
No, he wasn't there. No, we didn't have that good a player when I was there.
You brought in Harry Kane.
Yeah, Harry Kane is a baby.
Baby Harry.
So no, they've got. I think I've been very critical of their recruitment over the years, but certainly we're getting it right around this time. Alderweireld's coming in as well, who's another great servant to the club. It's just amazing, and the goals he scores are not tappings. Fantastic. You know, left foot, right foot, then bends into. Do not lend
the whole team.
Lend him, right, the Burnley goal of the season. You know, you send him on his right foot, and he can hit it with his left. But people don't know where to send him. They say, well, he goes in there. If you let him in there, he'll do the same with his left foot. But he's just a credit to the football club and a great example to all the young players coming through. You know, because he works so hard, humanity of the man, and he's just a fantastic leader. I think he's a real leader of that football club.
손흥민 선수의 실력뿐 아니라 훌륭한 인간성도 세계는 인정하고 그를 진정한 리더라고 말하고 있습니다. 다음은 손흥민 선수의 아시아인 최초로 프리미어리그 100호골을 기록한 점에 대한 데런 루이스의 반응입니다. 함께 보시죠.
There's a wider significance as well. You mentioned it, right? He's become the first Asian player to reach 100 Premier League goals. What is that? What does that do for Asian players who potentially want to have a Premier League career and reach those kind of heights?
Well, he's an icon. He's a standard bearer, if you like. When we would cover the early games, the market hadn't really been cracked in terms of bringing Asian players over, Asiatic players over. We had one or two who had done well, like Inamoto, for example, who'd been at Arsenal and Fulham, but there hadn't been too many who had come here. We'd had Park Ji-sung, obviously, at Manchester United, and one or two others. But somebody like him who's reached the levels that he has, well, in the early days of him being here, there used to be a small band of journalists who had come over simply to interview him. There'd been a lot of pressure on his shoulders to be, somebody who would be almost open the floodgates, if you like. And he has been an inspirational figure for all of the players, the young players. You see the rise of the national side and the players and the investment that is starting to bear fruit. You look at the World Cup, you see the rise of the Japanese, of Japan and some of the other Asiatic countries, and you realise that the Premier League influence, players like him are inspiring generations, and I think we'll start to see that in the next couple of World Cups. Sorry, go ahead.
Simply because as much as like they mentioned, like if it was Daniel Levy that convinced him, it's a great move simply because of his stature, the way he plays. I'm sure there's a lot of players in Asia and that who may have that kind of same stature, same ability in that, but feel like they won't be able to come and settle. And for him to come, settle, and then like thrive, 200 goals. It's when you see it, you can beat it, and that is
absolutely
that's
he lives for the game, right?
Doesn't he? Yeah. It's so lovely. I saw a video of him with the kids. Did you see that?
Yes, yeah.
And he's just a lovely bloke as well. So everybody wins.
How many years has he been here now?
Well, I think it would be something like 8 years.
8 years. I mean, not to one Tottenham fan has ever seen him out in London. Never. He stays at home.
Never caught on
He's
camera.
married to the game.
Never caught on camera.
But
you talked about the Korean journalists who came over. There's always that set of Korean fans who carry the Korean flag to the games and will be there just to support Son.
Absolutely, and this is what I'm saying. There is that pressure, if you like. I mean, I was about to make the point that he came over here and excelled at his craft, but he learned a different language. I'm always, whenever people talk about players who come from a different country, not necessarily a different league where you still speak English, but a league where you don't speak English. You have to adapt to the league, adapt to a new environment, adapt to a new society, learn a new language, then learn the language of football. It's also very different, but what he's achieved every time, when he first used to give those interviews to the Korean journalists, they were in his native tongue. And then eventually they were in English, because, and what he's saying in that moment is to all those players in his homeland, you can do this too. I've done it. You can see it. You can be it. And I think he's been an inspirational figure to get into the 100 club. That's that. He's not just been a great player. He's entered almost a Premier League Hall of Fame, if you like.
손흥민 선수와 박지성 선수와 같은 프리미어리그에 진출한 초창기 선수들이 한국이나 다른 아시아권 국가들의 어린 축구 선수들에게도 많은 자극을 주고 그들의 도전에 자극을 주고 있다고 합니다. 이번 시즌 본인의 기대에는 조금 못 미쳤지만 그래도 항상 엄청난 퍼포먼스를 보여주는 손흥민 선수를 응원하고 제2, 제3의 손흥민 선수가 우리 대한민국에서 계속해서 나오기를 바랍니다. 감사합니다. 재미있게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드립니다. 구독과 좋아요는 제작진에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 감사합니다.